Well, good morning to you all. We have a lot of folks here today. I am really excited to be back. We have been gone for a while, struggling with natural disasters here in Montecito. For those of you that have seen it on the news, thank you for your support. I've had a lot of amazing people help us, both financially and just as friends, and I really appreciate it. So today we're back, and this is an event, and some of the other ones that we had to put off because of all the issues. We were evacuated and this and that, and our town is still in disarray, but everything is good here and our family is great. And again, thank you. Let's talk about the About page. Now, if you know me, you know that I definitely am one of those types of people that is not necessarily afraid or has a I don't know. I mean, if we were going to go into the Freudian ego terms, you probably would say that I'm on the higher scale of things in terms of confidence. And I don't want to say I'm egocentric in any way, shape, or form. I definitely do not believe the world revolves around me, although I'm sure some of you are laughing right now. But I do get into things, and I do like to be a part of stuff, and I like to be in the middle, and I like to do good, and I like to help. So writing about myself or talking about myself is not a problem for me, but that's not always the case. Sometimes it is. It is a problem for some people. And the reason why is usually from practice. And this is not about public speaking, and this is not about anything other than what you say about yourself, but what you say about yourself and then put into print it's really important, because at the end of it all, you have to feel confident in order to write the proper thing about yourself and then share that. And in this day and age where social media has just completely consumed every mechanism, during our disaster, it was fascinating. The Red Cross is here, and FEMA finally shows up, and there's a local assistance center, and there's, all these, the United Way and all these other charities, but it was the GoFundMe accounts and spreading that on Twitter and Facebook. For me, Facebook, I think Ellen probably did better on Twitter, and Oprah. But it was a completely different animal this time around. And it's just fascinating to me that how social media has changed everything. So when we talk about social media and we talk about the online presence, we've got to be talking about who you are. And that's what the About page is. This is your About page on your website, but it's also the About page or the About section or the bio that you find everywhere, whether that be on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. Everywhere you go, everywhere you look, you're going to find something where you need to personalize that part. I've seen some really interesting things over the years. And it's perfect that I'm about to flip this slide and show you this. So this is me. And what you see here is something that I've been using since I began this. And what you see up top is my micro bio, or what one would typically use for Twitter or Instagram or something like that. This started with Twitter. So what I'm saying about myself in this micro bio is very quickly, in very small amount of space and few characters, I'm saying a lot. I used to put that I was a TED attendee up there, but I think my picture gets that across. And so I don't want to, I want to use the real estate in the space that I have to say the most in the quickest way. And the reason why this is all important is because if somebody's going to hire me, they're going to judge me. And this is when judging is important, right? We should never judge others. But in this case, we have no choice. We have to be judged in order for us to be able to deliver the types of services and be good at what we do and be chosen by a prospect. People have to trust us. They have to judge us well. So we want to give them this information. So what am I? Well, I'm a dad. I've got kids, obviously, that are playing hockey and soccer. We call it hocker or sake. More fun with sake, of course, if you're into sushi and that type of thing. I'm a techie automator. That's new. I used to put marketing guy up at marketing expert in the beginning, but I'm really this guy that loves to geek out with techie things and make them all work together. And I just built this amazing system, and I'm actually going to do a webinar on it alone because you guys are going to love it. It's called a Get It Done system, or a GID. And what it does is it allows my clients to submit requests to me. You know what? I'll show it to you real quickly. So in 74 systems, in the 74 hub, which is going to require me to log in. So bear with me just a quick second. I have to do this off camera. Okay. So as soon as I'm there, okay, so the 74 hub is the place where our clients go to access tools and resources for us. And one of the things they do is they submit a GID. And the GID is a system that allows them to give us a task, a description, some images, and a delivery date. And then that gets submitted, and that whole thing is automated and goes into Insightly as a task, linked to that contact in the project that they're in. And every time we make an update to it, the progress indicator or a note, they get updated. When we complete it, they get an update email and a Slack message. It's really, really cool. Okay, so that's who I am. I love to build this kind of stuff. And I think that it says that here in the words techie automator. I hope so. I'm also a marketer, meaning I do all this to help people market their practice, but I also then help them deal with the incoming prospects to manage them. So I have both sides, and that's what I like to do. I'm also a CEO, which means I'm unemployed, right? Unemployable. I'm an entrepreneur. That's what that suggests. And I have two different companies. One's called 74 Systems, and the other one is schoolofbookkeeping.com. Well, they're both just different entities within the 74 Degrees LLC company that we operate, and they both serve you, accounting professionals. 74 Systems built schoolofbookkeeping.com and also operates the Ignite program, which is our program to help people do that kind of stuff. So that's who I am. Now, if you want to know more about me, I put it right there. Go to ericgreenspan.com. And we will do that soon and use that as an example. Okay, so that was a very important slide because I use it all the time, but in particular today, that slide is what we're here for, is how do we present ourselves? How do we build the About page? And again, for those of you just joining us, the About page is not just on your website. It's everywhere you go, wherever your social media is, whatever you need to put, wherever you need to personalize something so that people know who you are. So I'll ask you, are you achieving all of your goals? It's been a while since I've asked that. And do you have enough good clients? Let me tell you something, folks. For 40 days, our family was disrupted, displaced, evacuated, no power. We didn't lose water here, but our neighbors did right across the street. We were right on the border of that. We did have a boiling water in effect, so we couldn't use the water. I mean, it was an awful disaster, but you know what my good clients said when I was dealing with this? Not only did they give me the freedom and the flexibility to deal with what I needed to deal with, they continued paying my monthly bill. And on top of it, all of them donated to the GoFundMe account that we were raising for our local community. That's what a good client is. A good client is somebody that understands when you've got trauma in your life and they will step up to help you. They'll stand by you. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm working 16 hours a day making it up to them right now because I want to be a good business owner. But having good clients is so important because you never know what may happen. And that is proof in the pudding right there. Are you making enough money? You know, I could afford to go to a hotel in Palm Springs during the disaster, even though my insurance did reimburse me, but I could afford it because I make enough money, I charge what I'm worth, and that is very important. Make sure you do the same. And by all means, are you having fun? Because at the end of the day, you gotta do what you love, or why bother? I love my job. Somebody told me this week, I've been very active in the community, and somebody told me I should run for mayor, and I said, you're crazy, I'd never run for mayor. I get stuff done, don't get me wrong, but I can't be put in that box with all that red tape, right? I wouldn't love that. It would be awful. And he said, well, and then I had another person say, we need to take this Montecito Mud Angels thing and expand it all across the nation, like Alex's lemonade stand. And I said, that's great. Go for it. I'll stand behind you and support you any way you can. I said, well, why wouldn't you want to do that? You are so passionate about it. I said, I'm passionate about it now because I need to do it for my community. But what I'm truly passionate about and what I truly love is my career. I love helping people tinker with things to make stuff work better. I've had 2 companies called Make It Work. One of them extremely successful, the other one extremely successful until the 11th year. And it's who I am. You got to make sure, folks, you are who you are and you do what you love. Quick primer and the first poll question. Are you here for CPE credit? That is the first question. On the poll, I need 100% participation, please. Okay, so real quickly, there's a Q&A system. Use that for anything that requires a response. Use chat for open discussion, goofiness, comments, whatever. Don't expect a response. It's instant message. Think of it like Snapchat. I probably will respond, maybe verbally, but also know that that's open. You can choose all panelists and attendees. Please don't send me a private message. I may not see it. And I don't want to be rude and not respond to you. So use Q&A for real questions that you want to ask. You must vote in the polls if you want CPE. I ask that everybody vote in the polls, please. I still have a couple of you that have not. I request that you please do. I don't know who you are. We don't know who answers what. It just gives us better data. And it's interesting because, I mean, at least hit the I'm here so I don't have to do other work answer. That's a pretty good one. That's good. Some people did answer that. I love it. And then we will automatically send you your CPE, so you don't have to worry about it. All right, so the About page. The world does not revolve around you. I'm pretty sure my father said to me at some point in my life. My father used to give me a hard time because I was very into brands when I was a kid. Little did he know that my obsession with the brand wasn't so much that I wanted Polo or Levi 501s or other types of things. It wasn't that so much as I was fascinated by brands. Brands were interesting to me, which is why I'm in the world of marketing and why I like to help people build brands. It's just who I am. And he made fun of me a lot about it, but he also used to think that I thought the world revolved around me. I'm not thinking he's the only person who's ever said that, but in this case, all kidding aside, it does revolve around your website. Your website, even if it's simple, it speaks volumes of you. My personal website is not beautiful. I don't have the time to deal with it right now. It's not perfect in any way, shape, or form. But let me tell you what my website is, my personal website. It is who I am in terms of what exists on it. And I'm going to show you that in a moment. Your website, whether it's your business website or a personal one, I have both. I have several. I have personal websites for my coaching. I have personal websites for other teams. I have personal websites for the Mud Angels, whatever organizations. But I have ericgreenspan.com for anybody who wants to know about me. It's a big About page. And you go to my About page on any of my companies and you're going to go to ericgreenspan.com if you need more information. That is the big About page. That's where it all goes. That's the funnel. It all ends up there eventually. And it's interesting, when I speak, I send out a speaker document. I could just link them to my website, but they ask for a speaker document. So I keep my speaker document and my website and my LinkedIn profile pretty much in sync with all of the accolades and things I've accomplished and so on and so forth. And we've all done that. I was really excited not too long ago when I passed my second renewal for the QuickBooks ProAdvisor, QuickBooks Online ProAdvisor certification. I did that for you because I want to know what's going on inside of the product that most of you use and understand your industry. I'm a marketing guy, but I need to know my client well. That's why I did it. And I share that type of stuff. So I ask you this question. Who are you? Who are you? Now, you know, it comes to defining this in several different ways, because sometimes who are you is nothing more than an elevator ride. And other times it's at a bar or a counter in the airport or the bookstore, and you fall in love with that person down the road because of that first impression, because of that 30 seconds, 8 seconds, or maybe somebody wants to spend 20 minutes learning about you. So if you think about it, it kind of starts off with, I'm Eric Greenspan, I do this. Interesting, or not. And if it continues, then you Facebook friend each other, and then you start researching each other and looking at your photos and reading about who you are. And then you find out there's a website, and then you Google, and then you find out that this person spent a lot of time in jail, and then you're done. Kidding, of course. But you get the point. That's how it works today, particularly in dating, but also just in anything. You know, when I was raising money for this disaster, I would get requests day in and day out from people that needed help. And we would give a $500 instant cash transfer out of the fund that we raised. We raised about $35,000. And it was just an emergency feed my neighbors kind of a fund that we created. But every single time somebody would come to us, I would go out and do research. I'd ask some friends who I called my board, do you know this person? Is their situation legit? Should we give them the money? Because I wanted to make sure the money was going to the right people, because there are bad people out there. Now, I didn't run into a lot of them, I will tell you, but it happens. So at the end of the day, using Facebook and going and reading about them and learning all the pieces of their lives in the puzzle is very, very, very important in a process like that. Well, it's like that with anything. And when you select a bookkeeper, somebody who is going to have the keys to your kingdom, you really need, or a tax person, right? I mean, come on. You really need to give them comfort that you have expertise, that you have experience, that you are reputable, that you have taken the time and you've studied and you've learned and you've done things. You don't have to have a Harvard degree, but let me share something with you. I'll never forget, I won't mention who this is, but there's a person in my life who used to always say to me, yes, I attended that university. And nobody thought twice about it. Now, this person didn't actually finish. Now, that's wordsmithing, isn't it? I attended the University of, okay, so you went in one door and out the other. You were there for a quarter. You're not lying. So at least, hey, you can say you attended. Doesn't say you graduated. Okay? I disclose publicly that I don't have an undergraduate degree. I do have 48 extra units, more than I need to obtain my undergraduate degree, but I missed one class in my final year because I had to go to IBM in Los Angeles, and I never formally got my degree. I have more units and the grades to support it, but I went through ceremonies, I threw tortillas in my hat, that's what we do at UCSB, but I never officially got my undergraduate degree. And you know what, I don't care, not even a little bit. I always wanted to be on the cover of some magazine saying, I got here and I don't even have a degree, even though that's not completely true, because I have more of a degree than some people because of the extra studying that I did. Anyhow, at least the education. So when we talk about who are you, the first question that most of you and I think the public in general are going to ask is, should I get personal? Should I disclose anything about myself? And I'm just going to do this real quick. You know, I was about to change this background image to the About page. And then I was like, you know, I went fishing just last week with a guy named Marco Farrell, who was on the news. He was the guy that ran out and yelled, stop, turn around, there's the flood, it's right there. And he saved this guy from disaster. I mean, he probably would have floated away in his van. And when Marco did that, somebody caught it on film, he got it on film. It was just an amazing experience. Well, I became friends with him through this process and everything that's going on. And he said to me one day, do you want to go fishing? And I said, I would love to go fishing. I said, you know, Marco, I used to be a big fisherman, and I let that part of my life slip away when I started getting busy and this and that. My older son and I would fish. My little guy loves to fish. And he took this picture of us fishing that day. And that's my son, Jackson. And the reason why I didn't change this image is because I don't have anything to hide in terms of my personal life. This is my son. He is Jackson. He is gorgeous. And he loves to fish. And this is what we did that day. And I think this says more about who I am, because it's real, than the about page as a background. So it means something. Now on my left and my right monitors, I have the standard Mac wallpapers because I like them, but my main monitor, I try to keep it personal. Okay, so speaking of which, a lot of monitors. So should you get personal? I mean, when you get to know somebody, you probably are likely to work with them. I'm not saying that all your clients need to know where you had dinner last night, but the times have changed, right? And they do, okay? People know. You've seen, hopefully you've seen the webinar we did some time ago, WOWbinar, that was about, it's called Facebook is More Than Babies and Burritos. And it was about what you should put on Facebook and what you should not. And this goes along that same discussion. It's really okay today to get personal. Now, if you're scared of that and it bothers you, and plenty of us, you know, have seen those Facebook profiles, maybe you have one where it's just pictures of dogs or birds or whatever. Okay, fine, that's your thing. But I am telling you, getting personal is more than likely going to help you if the personal aspect is a good one. If it's going to shed light on something that is not necessarily going to be positive for you, you probably want to avoid it. And when you're doing this, you want to show your strengths. And you want to brag a little. You know what? No. You want to brag a lot, not publicly and generally, but when you're building your about page, so to speak, wherever that may exist, you need to share your accolades. You need to showcase the best parts of you. And I'm going to show you now how I do that. So going back to 74 Systems. 74 Systems is my company. It's our main core company. And then of course, School of Bookkeeping is an offshoot of that, and a wonderful, it's just growing like crazy right now. And I thank you all. It's just been a blast. I love this. I love doing this. I love building it. And as you scroll around on School of Bookkeeping, you notice there's no about at the top. And I like that because I really just want them to start a trial. Now, if they really want to find it, it's here. And it's just my philosophy on keeping it simple for this particular site. Now, that said, on 74 Systems, it's a whole different ballgame. When you have prices that range from $395 a month to well over $12,000 a month, most of our clients are in this, actually no, they're right in this spot right here. I just added the $4.99 again. By the way, if any of you are interested, just for a little while, we're going to do this. I like to stay fresh, and it's great to bring new clients in at this level that could not afford it. Normally, we just start with our weekly and our daily and daily double. But anyhow, when you have prices like this, people are going to want to read about you. Notice when you go to this page that the testimonials icon or menu option exists here, and it doesn't when you're at home. It's this. There's a custom page there just for that in pricing, because I want people to see the testimonials. Now, the about page is going to say things about me, about our company and who we are, our brands, what we do in a nutshell, who I am, a little bit of bragging, big successes. I admit my failures. I think that's important. And yet, if you want to learn more, you can click here, and that'll take you to my website. Now, again, I told you my personal website's not exciting at all. It's actually quite ugly. I just want content, and it says who I am. I've fine-tuned and ferociously, as you can see, that term is in there, have reworked this thing over and over and over again, and have just continued to keep it up to date and keep it working. And at the end of it all, this is just the story, my bio. This is my long bio. We're going to come back to that. And then you click on my CV or my resume, and it starts off with bullet points. Bullet points, accolades, things I've accomplished. You know what needs to be added right here is I don't have, let's see, do I? No, I need to add my Insightly Hero status, and I need to add my QuickBooks ProAdvisor. So certifications, awards. I've got an award on my wall behind me that says Honorary Service Award. I could also CPE sponsors, speaking engagements, anything, whatever you've done, wherever you've been, whatever you've accomplished. It could be 3 items, but this is where you can showcase it. And then down here becomes my real resume, and it talks about my current businesses, the prior, and all the way back to IBM when I started my career after my engagement. And you can see, or after my education. So you can see here, I put an asterisk next to my BA and says lacking a lower division of course, or lower division course. Thanks IBM. It's funny too, Toad the Wet Sprocket, the drummer's dad was my professor. I won't listen to that band anymore. I had a perfect score in his class, but he gave me a no pass because I missed the final quiz going to IBM. It was Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. Actually loved it. Okay, so this is my ultimate about page, but I can't put this all onto an about page here. So I put some and then I link to it. That's an important aspect, an important part of how you can do more. So actually, before I go there, let me do one other thing. Let's go to Facebook. Actually, let's go to Twitter. That's safer. And if you go to Twitter, so I have pictures of my 2 soccer players there. Those aren't all my kids, but those are the ones that play soccer. I love that picture. There's a picture of Susan Humphreys, one of our clients, a School of Bookkeeping member. We're profiling her. We could do this for you as well. Anybody who's a pro member in School of Bookkeeping, we can share your profile on this is her member directory listing. So the world knows about it. But you can see right here, and this one's a little bit outdated, that it's very similar to what I'd shown you in my profile on that slide earlier. Hockey Dad, CEO here and there. This one I do have TED attendee, but I'm going to update this to the latest that I have. And I do that everywhere. And I can do that on Instagram, and I can do that on Twitter, and you can also do that on Facebook. This is your micro bio. This is very important. But then there's a link to my mega bio, if you will, right? Okay, now we'll go back here. It is a fact on every website that we manage that the about page is important and visited with regularity. So here's just a quick snippet I grabbed, and you can see the 2 most popular pages are register free and register trial, because they both are those 2 buttons at the top of the page that I want people to click on. And that's why our business is good. And this was a very brief period, but this is an awesome thing. So you can see the drop off, which is also called the bounce rate. But what's really important to show here is that the 3rd one is about. Now that's really weird too, because the about is at the bottom. I don't even make it, I don't showcase it. And yet people get to the about page because before they're going to spend their money or waste their time, they want to find out who's behind this thing. And it must be working. I can make it better, no question about it, but it must be working. And then of course, the next thing is this, the WOWbinars. People love these, and that's cool. So now I know what works. And then naturally fundamentals, of course, on School of Bookkeeping. So bookkeeping fundamentals is very important. Notice that free is also very important. So anyhow, you can see what's going on here, and recorded events also, but about, number 3 position. Pretty interesting. Okay, I've got another poll question. Anybody else that's here for CP that needs to vote on that last poll question? You got to do it now. And it's gone. All right, the next one. So I'm just going to ask you this question. Do you have a bio? It's really I'm interested to see how many people don't, because when I ask my clients, we send out a liftoff form for Web or Ignite, and you'd be surprised at how few have a bio. Wow, you don't have a bio. So raise your hand if you, don't raise it until I finish this statement. Raise your hand if you don't have a bio because you don't think you have anything worthy to say. Okay, fair. So we need to work on that, right? Yeah, okay, so that's what I'm guessing it is. It may or it may not be a confidence issue, or you may not have done enough, interesting stuff. Maybe you need to get out there and get active. My bio is littered with fundraising and PTA stuff. And that's not even half of it. there's so many more things that I've been involved in. We were just featured on the news the other night, the Montecito Mud Angels, for the work that we're doing. I haven't put that up there yet. And I don't know, and there's a link to the video, and it's great. And I don't do it for any other reason other than it needed to be done in this case. I felt there's this weird thing about survivor's guilt. But I have to tell you, at the end of the day, somebody came up to me and they said, "Oh, this is great publicity for you." I said, "What do you mean?" And they said, "Oh, you're going to get so many new clients from this." I said, "I don't work with people in Santa Barbara. None of my clients are in Santa Barbara. And yet there's one here that is, and we don't meet in person." Have we ever actually met in person? Where was that? Was that QuickBooks Connect? I won't ask her. She knows who I'm talking to. It's interesting. But there is somebody from Santa Barbara right here on here. And I have 3, I think. And we don't ever work in person. We didn't find each other because of the Santa Barbara connection. It was unrelated. It just happened to be. So at the end of the day, not having a bio can either be a problem because you don't have enough and we need to get you busier. And maybe I need to do a webinar on how to build your bio, meaning not write it, but steps and tactics you can take to do things in your community that would lead to enhancing your bio, something like that. Okay, fascinating. So the micro bio was the thing I showed you on Twitter. I suggest you start there, okay? So there's your homework from today. Go write a micro bio. You get 140 characters on Twitter. I think now you can go higher, but don't. Try to keep it as short as possible. Use that 140 characters as your micro bio. Go open up a notepad or Word or whatever you use and create your micro bio and then sleep on it. And the next day, write your short bio and then sleep on it. And then the next day, write your long bio. Now, if you have a long bio, you can easily make your short bio and you can easily make your micro bio. The micro bio is the hardest one. And you want to set it and forget it. You don't want to constantly change it, but that's hard to do. If you are a Mac fan and one day you become a Windows person or you switch from iPhone to Android and you've got that in your bio, you got to switch that, right? So you're going to have to change it to some degree. There are some that are very simple. There are some that really don't suggest who people are. And that's okay too. But if you aren't getting enough attention or people aren't finding you or you're looking to expand your business, and you will need to explain this with the bio. So start writing. And I will, all of you that are here, I see 3, 4 of you that are past or existing Ignite clients. I will, for all of the people on this call, if you want to send me your micro bio or anything, I don't know that I can review it in detail, but I will definitely give you some feedback from my perspective, which may or may not be worth anything, if you send it. So send it to eric@74systems.com. Okay, one more poll question. Okay, this one I'm just pushing you a little bit. Do you have all 3? The micro, the short, and the long? Nobody has all 3. Nobody has all 3. Fascinating. Raise your hand if you knew that there were 3. Nobody's raising their hand. Raise your hand if you knew what a micro bio was, like a Twitter bio. Okay, so the distinguishing is between, okay, I'll put your hands down. Raise your hand if the issue is really differentiating between the short and the long. To you, it's just a bio, right? Raise your hand if it's a short versus long issue. Okay, yeah, that's what I figured. Okay, so here's the deal. If in fact you have a bio, the reason why you need short and long is because in media, on websites, in CRMs, on various whatevers, there's often a request for short versus long. And the reason why is because short shows up in certain circumstances or in a mobile environment, and long is in others. The other thing sometimes they do with these is they'll show the micro or the short, and then there'll be a read more, which takes you to the longer. It's important that you have all 3 of them. No question about it. You will find unbelievable uses. Okay, raise your hand if you've ever gone to a site and you didn't have the right bio. Like it didn't fit. It wasn't designed. Yeah, so, okay. Yeah. See, so you know what I'm talking about, I think. Raise your hand if you absolutely have no idea what I'm talking about in terms of different bios. Thank you. Okay. All right. We should talk. The person that raised your hand, let me know. We got to talk about that because it's very important to have the multiple ones in whatever. If you go to your ProAdvisor listing, I'll bet you there's more. I can't remember off. Let's go look. I have to go backwards to here. Come on. There it is. Let's go to find a ProAdvisor. And let's go to Santa Barbara, my town, and search. I wonder if I show up in there now. I think I might have turned mine off. Do you have to do this? There we go. All right, so there I am. I know Stephanie. This is cool. I know this person. And is your picture sideways on purpose? Because if it is, that's very clever. If it's not, it's because it does that funny. I love it. I love that you're raising your hands. But I won't out you. So, okay. So when we look at this, it just has the about me, which it needs to be updated because it says it's due to me. No micro here. Interesting. You know, inside of Insightly, they actually have short bio, long bio as set up. Okay. Bullet points. Worst. I love it. Worst case scenario, if you don't have a bio, start jotting bullet points. Raise your hand if you have a list application, some kind of software that you use for building lists. Not enough of you do. Any list is my favorite on the Mac. Wunderlist seems to be popular otherwise. Any list program, it doesn't really matter. You all have a list program. It's called Microsoft Excel, and you all use it. But it's hard to get into. It's cumbersome. You want something quick. Alexa, add SpaghettiOs to the grocery list.
I've put SpaghettiOs on grocery.
So that's how I do my lists. I have to-dos. I have a variety of different lists using my Amazon Echo. Bullet points. Jot down bullet points on a list somewhere, get you started to building your bio. If you don't have things to add as bullets, put things you desire to put there and put an asterisk next to them or make a different list. MBA from Harvard, Put that on there. All QuickBooks certifications, including advanced. I mean, all you got to do is go do those and you've got a heck of a resume. That's beautiful stuff. Not to mention you show up higher in the search. So start building bullet points of things you are and things you desire to be. We'll talk briefly about woven testimonials. What is a woven testimonial? Well, I have testimonials on my website. But a good thing to do if you don't have a lot of, I have a lot of testimonials. I had a company, my last company that back in 2012 was when it ended, but we had over 40,000 testimonials. So we were quite proud of them. If you don't have a lot of them, you don't have to put them all in one place to make it look like you only have 4. Take those 4 testimonials and weave them into your site. Put one on the services page and maybe make them dynamic, change, you know, based on what people type or whatever. There are ways to do that. Put one on your contact page, put one on your free consultation page. You all have automated free consultation scheduling software setups, right? Don't raise your hand. Just, I'm going to assume you all have that. Please, if you don't have that, please get that. I think I need to do that webinar again. You know, I'm actually going to show you guys something just as a quick aside, because I know you'll appreciate it. One of my favorite apps, Lucid Chart. It's a great little tool. I'm using a 4K display. Is it showing up okay for you all? Raise your hand if you can see things fine. Okay, good enough. I switched my display. I finally got rid of my Mac 2K because I wanted to go bigger. All right, so this is a piece that I just put together and enhanced. And what this basically is the automation that we do for our Ignite clients, but I just want you all to see how this works. So in the middle is Zapier, which is an automator. If this, then that, which is its brother, is the same concept. So if it comes into MailChimp, or if somebody signs up on my Acuity scheduling page, then it creates a Zoom session, adds itself to Insightly, automatically creates itself onto a list on MailChimp and starts an automated drip and nurture campaign of emails. And then when needed, it'll automatically send an invoice, it'll automatically record payments and separate out the merchant fees. And then when that's all done, from prospect, it's a process that starts from the prospect, right? And then ends up with the lights blinking. And the concept of all of that automation, I don't expect you to understand it all here, but the concept of all this automation is what allows me to run my operation ridiculously profitable, because I don't need to hire the resources to book appointments or to manage my CRM or any of it. It all just happens. I set it up and I forget it. And in this case, shoemakers' children wear, you know, pretty decent shoes around here. So this is what we do as a company, but I just wanted you to see this kind of thing, because if you're not using an automatic scheduling system and you're not tracking prospects and workflow and projects in some sort of tool, and you're not working in a remote environment with the best tool out there, which is Zoom, and you're not somehow keeping in touch with your clients on a regular basis or prospects through MailChimp or something similar, and you're not automating some of the processes that you can with either QuickBooks or Xero, and your bookkeeping is your profession. So wouldn't it be great if all of your clients were on autopilot and you just collected money each month sitting under a coconut tree on an island somewhere? I have a Zap that literally handles all of the invoicing and sales receipts for our company. It has not failed us in 2 years. I have not created an invoice, added a customer to QuickBooks since we've, in the last 2 years anyhow. Okay, so back to, hi Susan. I have an interview with her tomorrow. She is an amazing partner at Complete Business. So woven testimonials is a way to use the limited number of testimonials you might have to highlight positives without people looking at your testimonials and saying, wow, you only have 3. And you can make 3 look really like a big deal too. It's up to you. All right, I have one more poll question, and it is, Okay, so across your social media sites, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you use, do you have the same microbio or bio in each? Do you use the same image in each? Are they consistent so that people will recognize you anywhere they are? I wrote a Zap once for a client, and I use it for myself now. And the Zap is what Zapier is. And what the Zap does, the client is Muji Clips. You know the story of that, perhaps you do or you don't. But Muji Clips, Anna Lisa, who was a client that came to me and said, look, I want you to help me grow my QuickBooks practice. And I said, do you love what you do? And she said, no, I hate it. I said, what do you love to do? And she said, I love to make hair clips for little girls. So long story short, we did that. And she is just blowing up. It's unbelievable what you know, a year and a half later, 2 years later, it's insane. But she started off with, she said, I want to focus on building Instagram. And I said, I think that's a great idea. And she had about 400 plus followers, which is now, I think, over 15,000. And the likes and the purchase, I mean, every day, she just posts something on Instagram and she gets sales. It's that simple. Different profession than yours, but you get the concept. So I said to her, I said, well, Instagram's awesome. I said, why don't we build Pinterest too? And she goes, I don't have time for that. I need to stay focused on Instagram. I said, well, what if I could automate it? So every time you post to Instagram, it automatically would post to Pinterest. Would you be interested in that? And she said, how much is it going to cost me? And I said, hang on. And I finished the Zap in front of her face in about a minute. And I said, there, it's done. Here, I'll show it to you in case you're curious. Zapier. You never know what I might pull out of the hat here. Okay, so me from Insta to Pinter. So it basically says, oh, that's deprecated. There's a new Instagram. I got to go get that. They updated it. So what Zapier does is it says if a new post exists, new media posted. So it should be this one. It's posted by a user. We'll figure that out later. So when new media is posted to Instagram, then create a pin on your Pinterest account. So whatever, this is looking up the last thing that was posted on Instagram, and then it's just literally mimicking that. That's what Zapier does. And then here's Zapalicious. When a new customer is created in 74 systems, add it to QBO. Every time a Stripe transaction comes in, PayPal through Braintree, I want you to add those to QBO and separate out the negative merchant fee and record it on a separate line. And then also add all of these to a Google Sheet, just in case, so that I can reconcile if something didn't work. And it just works, period. All right, so up next, again, we had to push all these off. Percentage pricing. What? Another one? Value pricing? Bill in arrears? There's too many. What do I do? Percentage pricing. Kind of a twist on value pricing. It basically what this webinar or WOWbinar is going to be based on helping you make sure that if you're doing value pricing, you're getting paid properly. And this could either be a guide or a better system. So basically your client makes more money, you make more money. If they make less money, you make less money. Kind of an interesting idea that we are working with. Creating and producing video is coming up also. That had to be rescheduled. We're also going to be adding how to build a task request system for your clients that will automate in your workflow and alert them, alert you, keep everybody up to date. It's just a beautiful system. And also, we mentioned that we would be adding Ignite method to School of Bookkeeping. Some of those videos are now there, and you can watch, I think the 3 first ones that we did are up there. We're gonna be announcing more to that soon. It's gonna be very cool, and we're excited about that. Our existing Ignite method members, I see a couple, you've already been offered in exchange to direct Ignite program sessions. If you bought Ignite method there, it just became too much to manage for us, particularly with all of the tragedies around. So we have merged the two, and I think it'll be better for everybody. All right, folks, thank you so much. We will see you back here next Friday for our next WOWbinar.